It's 1989. Kevin Flynn, the CEO of Encom, is with his 7-year-old son Sam one night, telling him about his adventures in the grid, a completely digital world within the Tron computer system that Flynn created. Flynn explains to Sam that with his digital twin CLUE, which stands for Codified Likeness Utility, modeled after Flynn himself, and the security program Tron, he discovered something amazing within the grid. A miracle. Sam asks what it is, but Flynn holds the story for next time, before putting Sam to bed and promising to take him to the arcade tomorrow and play some computer games together. Kevin Flynn then rides away into the night on his favourite Ducati motorcycle, leaving Sam at home under the care of his grandparents. A series of newspaper articles and television reports announced the mysterious disappearance of Kevin Flynn that night. In the news, he is portrayed as a visionary who couldn't handle the pressures of running Encom and simply decided to disappear. Since the death of Sam's mother several years prior, Flynn's disappearance leaves Sam effectively orphaned and puts Encom's future in a state of jeopardy. Arriving to a court case to decide Encom's future, Kevin Flynn's best friend Alan Bradley angrily tells reporters that Kevin Flynn would never abandon his family and everything he had built. Sam is left in the care of his grandparents and grows up questioning the nature of his father's disappearance. 20 years later, Sam rides his motorcycle through the night streets towards Encom Tower. He hacks into the building and evades security cameras as he makes his way upstairs. Meanwhile, a board meeting is being held where Richard Mackey, Encom's new CEO, presents the new OS 12 operating system, which will be going live all over the world that same night. When Alan Bradley asks what improvements have been made to the system, given the high prices already charged, young Edward Dillinger II, the brilliant son of a former Encom CEO, says that the idea of sharing software for free disappeared with Kevin Flynn. Sam breaks into the control room and swaps out the OS 12 master file so that when Mackey attempts to run it, all he sees is a repetitive video of Sam's dog, Marv. Sam smirks as he passes the boardroom, followed closely by a security guard who has noticed him in the security camera. In the boardroom, Mackey angrily asks where the master file is, and after searching on his laptop, Bradley announces that it's on the web for free. The security guard, Ernie, chases Sam onto the rooftop, where Sam reveals his true identity as the largest shareholder of the company and the son of Kevin Flynn. Ernie asks Sam why he would sabotage his own father's company. He tells Ernie that it's not his father's company anymore, then he leaps off the edge of the building. Sam parachutes safely to the ground but gets snagged on a traffic light and is soon arrested by the police. A few hours later, Sam makes bail and returns to his shipping container refitted as an apartment overlooking the city skyline, across the river where he has a clear view of the Encom Tower. While changing into a clean shirt, Sam notices Bradley standing in his living room. Bradley commends him on his latest prank on the company, an event that Sam performs every year on the day of his father's disappearance. Bradley excitedly tells Sam that he recently received a page from Flynn's office above his arcade, a number that hasn't been in use for 20 years. Bradley tosses Sam the keys to Flynn's arcade and says that he should be the one to go and have a look. Sam still believes that his father abandoned him 20 years ago and pretends not to care. And before leaving, Bradley tells Sam that the board of Encom is happy that Sam has nothing to do with the running of the company, even though he is the rightful owner. This reminder bothers Sam. After Bradley leaves, Sam reluctantly rides his motorcycle to the abandoned arcade. He goes inside and turns on the lights, and old arcade machines come to life. Behind the Tron arcade game, he finds a secret doorway which leads him down a flight of stairs to a confined control room. Sam sits at the computer to find that it still works and that the computer's timer has been running continuously for just over 20 years. He searches through it for information. However, he unknowingly activates a large laser positioned directly behind him, which hits him with a digitizing ray, teleporting him straight into the grid. Sam stumbles outside the arcade and is shocked at the sudden change in environment. He is quickly picked up by a flying patrol craft called a recognizer. The human-looking programs on board restrain him with a handful of other runaway programs, and the recognizer takes off again. Sam tries to talk with one of the other captive programs that nervously repeats, "Not the games, not the games," and then another program missing half its face. They are taken to the edge of the gaming grid, where they are assigned either for derezzing or games. Sam watches as the nervous program is assigned to the games, which causes him to flee from the security programs and plunge himself over a cliff into a massive in-ground fan, derezzing himself into 1,000 tiny digital pieces, while Sam watches in horror. Sam is sent to an underground armory where his clothes are removed by 4 female siren programs and is fitted with a high-tech armor suit and an identity disc. Sam doesn't know what he's supposed to do, and one of the sirens, Jem, tells him that all he has to do is survive. A large door opens and Sam walks out onto the gaming grid for Disc Wars. He is pitted against an opponent who he manages to defeat before trying to escape the arena, where he is noticed by the boss programs floating above the arena in a box ship. While trying to escape, Sam unintentionally lands in the final round room with Rinzler, the deadliest program on the grid. Rinzler quickly subdues Sam and is about to terminate him when he sees blood dripping from Sam's suit. Rinzler recognizes Sam as not a program but a user and faces him towards the boss's viewing box above. A figure asks Sam to identify himself, and Sam says that he is Sam Flynn. Then another figure wearing a black helmet hiding his face and who appears to be the boss summons Sam to the ship, where he reveals himself as a youthful Kevin Flynn. Amazed to see his father, Sam asks if they can go home, but his request is denied. His father then reveals himself as Clue, the digital copy of his father that Kevin Flynn told Sam about the night that he disappeared. Clue looks at Sam's identity disc and sees footage of the real world outside of the grid program. Clue is transfixed by what he sees on Sam's disc and orders his security programs to take Sam to the light cycle arena. A massive crowd of programs has assembled around the light cycle arena. Clue's right-hand man, Jarvis, entices the crowd, telling them that today they will witness a special event. The son of their creator, Kevin Flynn, will do battle against their savior and leader, Clue. Sam is put on a team of programs while Clue prepares to battle them with his own team, which includes Rinzler. All the programs are given a small black rod that turns into a light cycle when it is thrown in the air, and Sam is excited because this is something he knows he can do. He throws his stick in the air and jumps onto it as it morphs into his own light cycle. One by one, the racing programs are eliminated by Clue and Rinzler, while a mysterious female figure watches overhead. Before Sam and Clue can face off, the figure intervenes with a light runner, an all-terrain vehicle that rescues Sam. They blast a hole out of the arena, escaping off-grid into the Outlands, where other programs' vehicles cannot follow. The figure removes her helmet and introduces herself as Cora, a beautiful female program, before taking Sam through a secret mountain entrance to a home situated on a hilltop within the mountain. Cora takes Sam inside, where he is reunited with his real father, Kevin Flynn, who is now an old man. Cora shows Sam a bookshelf filled with classic books from Sam's world and tells him that Kevin Flynn has been teaching her about the real world outside the grid. They all sit down to dinner, where Flynn reveals that when he went to work, he was really entering the grid, working with Tron and Clue on creating the perfect system. The miracle that Flynn spoke of before disappearing was the birth of the ISOs, isomorphic algorithms that spontaneously evolved from the grid without user intervention and with properties that Flynn had never seen before. Their makeup included biodigital genetics that Flynn was convinced would change the world. However, Clue saw them as imperfections. Tasked by Flynn to create the perfect system, Clue performed a coup, ambushing Flynn and Tron and taking over the system. Tron was presumably de-rezzed and Flynn was forced to flee into the Outlands, while the ISOs were all destroyed, an event known as the Purge. The portal, the only way out of the grid, saw the end of its millicycle window and closed on Flynn, leaving him trapped. With Sam's arrival, the portal was opened again and Sam says they should try to escape before the portal closes, but Flynn refuses. He explains that Clue is anticipating this in hopes of retrieving Flynn's identity disc, which he plans to use to manipulate the portal. Flynn is also certain that it was Clue who sent the page to Alan. Later that night, Cora goes to see Sam in his room and tells him about a program in the city named Zeus, who used to help the ISOs during the Purge and might be able to help. While Flynn is asleep, Sam steals his vintage light cycle and races into the city, where he trades it for a cloak. However, he's recognized by the siren Gem, who takes him to Zeus's End of Line Club, where a large party is being entertained. Once there, he meets the eccentric Castor, who promises to take Sam to Zeus. After finding Sam gone, Flynn resolves to head into the city, though Cora assures him that she sent Sam to someone they could trust. Flynn and Cora head out into the city as Clue's guards locate Flynn's light cycle and trace it back to Flynn's hideout in the Outlands. Clue prepares a group and flies out to Flynn's home to find it empty. As he looks around, Clue recalls when he was first created and how Flynn promised that they would change the world together. The thought makes him furious and he smashes everything on Flynn's table. Sam is led to a private room above the party. Castor reveals to Sam that he is Zeus, but admits that his services have turned with the tide. At that moment, the club is infiltrated by Clue's guards, and Sam steps out to fight them. Cora arrives and fights alongside Sam, but is overpowered and the left arm is de-rezzed. Flynn then appears and de-rezzes the rest of the guards. Flynn and Sam, who is carrying injured Cora, rush to the elevator and escape. But just before the elevator doors shut, Zeus captures Flynn's disc, then sabotages the lowering mechanism. Flynn manages to slow the elevator before they crash and scolds Sam. They board a solar sailor, which should take them directly to the portal. Clue arrives at the club where Zeus presumes a silent agreement, Flynn's identity disc for control of the city. Clue smiles and takes Flynn's identity disc away from Zeus. Clue then orders his guards to rig the place with bombs, and as Clue leaves in his ship, the tower explodes, de-rezzing Zeus and Gem. On board the solar sailor, Flynn takes Cora's identity disc and corrects the corrupted data that will enable her to regenerate her arm. While she's rebooting, he reveals to Sam that Cora is in fact an ISO, the last one alive. Her digital readout shows that she has triple-stranded DNA. Flynn then leaves unconscious Cora with Sam. When Cora wakes up, she tells Sam that Flynn saved her during the Purge, and then she asks him to tell her more about the real world outside the grid. Sam tries to describe to her what the sun looks like, while Flynn watches them, smiling. Suddenly, the solar sailor intersects the Rectifier, a large carrier ship. Flynn, Cora, and Sam hide among the cargo units of the solar sailor and discover that thousands of programs are encased within, en route to be reprogrammed into an army for Clue. Rinzler then appears, sensing something. Flynn suddenly recognizes Rinzler as his old friend Tron, reconfigured now as Clue's henchman. Cora gives Sam her disc and suddenly runs out to fight Rinzler, distracting him so Flynn and Sam can leave unnoticed. She is captured and taken away. Flynn and Sam watch Clue giving an announcement to his massive army. With Flynn's disc in his possession, he intends to use it to allow passage into the real world, where they may perfect it. Flynn and Sam agree to a plan and split up. Clue goes to his tower where Flynn's disc is stored. There, Cora is brought to him where he sees that she is an ISO. Flynn makes his way to the light jet hangar where he reprograms a guard, allowing him to access one of the light jets. Meanwhile, Sam makes his way to Clue's docking tower and to Cora, and retrieves Flynn's disc. Rinzler confronts him, holding Cora hostage. but Sam fights him off and defeats him with Cora's help by knocking him off the edge of the tower. Sam and Cora then leap off the tower using a wingsuit to glide to the ground. They meet up with Flynn in the stolen light jet and Cora takes the pilot seat. Clue storms into the tower to find Rinzler, having climbed back from the ledge, and Jarvis looking sullen. As he watches Flynn's light jet leave the carrier, he strikes down Jarvis with his disc and leaps out of the tower, using another black rod to create his own light jet around him. Rinzler and a few guards follow. As they fly over the sea of simulation, Sam goes to the light jet's turret to fire on their pursuers. Rinzler flies over the light jet and he and Flynn make eye contact for the first time. Flynn speaks out to him, and the connection allows Rinzler to regain his memories of being Tron, and he turns against Clue, crying out, "I fight for the users." However, as they fight in the air, Clue gets an advantage over Rinzler, who is now Tron again, knocking him off his light jet and sinking into the sea of simulation, his armor circuitry changing back to its original blue when he used to be Tron. Flynn asks Cora to do something for him just before they arrive at the portal. As they walk up the pathway, they find Clue standing before them, blocking the portal. Clue confronts Flynn and insists that all he was trying to do was what Flynn instructed him, to make the perfect system. Flynn apologizes to Clue and says that perfection is impossible because it's unknowable. But Clue could not know that because Flynn didn't know when he created him. This revelation incites Clue to attack Flynn, who yells at Sam and Cora to run to the portal while he deals with Clue. Determined not to lose his father again, Sam has to be pushed forward by Cora. Clue knocks Flynn down and takes his disc, but when he reads it, he sees that it's actually Cora's. Flynn had swapped his disc with hers before they arrived. Infuriated, Clue jumps the gap between the gate and the portal and is about to reach Sam and Cora, who are waiting for the portal to transport them out of the grid. But at the last moment, Flynn performs reintegration with Clue, which uses a magnetic force to pull Clue back to rejoin with Flynn, killing them both. During the reintegration, Flynn watches tearfully as Sam holds his disc above his head, which is the way to exit the portal. He says, "Goodbye, kiddo," before Clue is fully merged with him. Sam and Cora escape the grid just before a massive explosion that deletes everything in it. Back in his father's office at Flynn's arcade, Sam has saved the Tron system onto a microchip that he wears around his neck as a pendant. He pages Alan, and when he arrives at the arcade, Sam tells him that he was right about everything. Sam says that he is going to take back Encom and would like Alan to be the chairman. Leaving the arcade, Sam meets Cora outside waiting for him beside his Ducati motorbike, now wearing normal clothes. She asks what they will do now, and Sam tells her that he has something special to show her, and they ride off on his motorcycle. As they ride over the bridge, in the real world, Cora is amazed to see the sun rise for the first time.